I know we don't know where we're going. I know we don't know where we've been. Till now it's never been so complicated. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. I don't care what you think or say. Those concrete clocks are clicking, static time away. There's no time left to think things through. But oh well. Why now we don't know where we're going. Why now we don't know where we've been. Now it's never been so complicated. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. Give me the win and the unknown. We are the broken pieces of the cornerstone. There's no time left to think things through. But oh well. Why now we don't know where we're going. Why now we don't know where we've been. Till now it's never been so complicated. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. I know we don't know where we're going. Why now we don't know where we've been. Till now it's never been so complicated. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. Hey, hey. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. Hey, hey. Guess I'll just follow the new trend. Hey, hey.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report for...
Number 121?
You're like a show ahead. 120. Show number 120.
You sure?
I'm positive. Well, last week was 119,
I
so
thought last week was okay. Fine.
it's right there.
You're the
120.
you're the PRO professional. You would know.
I don't know about that. Welcome to the show for February 20th, 2020. A lot of 20s today. Very interesting week in the world of motorsports. Lots to get to. Yeah, some crazy stuff, especially with that Daytona thing.
Which one?
There you go.
The Thursday debacle, or
What happened in the Thursday debacle?
actually Thursday was pretty tame.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of it, but that's what I heard.
yeah, it was pretty tame.
Okay, fair enough. Joining us in the studio tonight, we have Jordan and Tim Conover. We'll be talking to them in a little bit as well. We have all the latest racing news, and we'll announce who the winner is of last week's How Many, which was picking the Daytona 500 winner for that Big D prize pack, pizza wings and a 2-liter. Dean Henry from Big D's was actually the only one that picked the actual winner, so we went with the
Second place?
Next highest finishing person or finisher that was guessed.
Dean, enjoy your pizza.
Dean always enjoys his pizza. Coming at you live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, and Periscope from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio. Also, make sure to check us out on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You listen to podcasts?
No, not really.
And make sure that
You should now.
And make sure that
should.
make sure you like us so that we know that we are your favorite podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate likes.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, give Ron Miller Race Cars a call, 734-856-7223. He's got race cars. He's got parts. He's got safety equipment. He's helped out these guys as well.
Yeah, it helped us out a few weeks ago. Got us out of a good situation with our
It was a
moped.
fun weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Service equipment, all kinds of stuff. Still have gift cards?
We do.
What's the next holiday coming up? Easter? Did something for the Easter basket? Some tires for the Easter basket?
Well, we're still celebrating President's Day, I guess. So, if you want it for this weekend, it could be President's Day week. But, yeah.
Is it a President's Day sale?
Could be.
Every day's a sale.
734-856-7223. That's
856-RACE.
Ron Miller Race Cars. Give them a call. So before we go on, there was something that I announced on my Facebook page earlier today, my personal Facebook page.
I saw that.
I haven't really talked about it, but I've been going through this for since June of last year, where eating is kind of sucky.
I thought you were kind of wasting away.
Yeah, even drinking kind of sucks. Like, not drinking, but like
Trying to drink.
any kind of drinking, really. Did okay there, as long as we do a little bit.
So far.
But basically, I got this condition called achalasia where my esophagus doesn't work right, so I can't swallow, which sucks and creates sleeping issues. So I haven't been sleeping. I haven't had a good night's sleep in like 2 months. I'm exhausted. So they're going to do surgery,
Yeah.
and I'll be out of commission for probably a couple weeks. So we're probably going to take at least a week off in March because Ron doesn't want to come over here and push all the buttons.
Yeah. They wouldn't like that.
No. So I'm going to be under the knife. Actually, the surgery's on Friday morning, right after our show on March 5th. That'll be our last show. For a week.
Couple of weeks.
Hopefully.
A week, yeah.
If assuming everything goes well, I don't know. I've never had surgery before. Maybe I won't wake up. You never know. I'm hoping
you're
not.
going to like it. You really
I'm going to
are.
like it.
It's going to be the
I hear I get a bunch of painkillers.
It's going to be the first really good sleep you've had in a while, too, Scott.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. I'm looking for this. Supposedly they can fix all the symptoms, so I'll be able to eat and sleep, and that's
I
what
guess
I'm looking for.
I guess we've
Hopefully,
got-
I'll be okay to race too by the time race season creeps up, which is soon at Attica. If you're racing at Attica,
Yeah.
When's their opening date?
20th, a week from today, or a month from today.
Yeah, you send a lot of people into a panic.
You got a week. Hurry up.
Next week.
So, cool. That's it. And thanks to everybody, all the support I was getting on Facebook earlier today. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not looking for any pity. I just kind of want to let people know what's going on.
Well, and it's nice to let people know, what's going on. And
it's annoying. Like, I don't go out to eat anymore because it's like too much anxiety and it takes me an hour to eat like a hamburger or something. Something I used to take 2 minutes. Anyways, let's talk racing.
okay.
World of Outlaw Morton Building late models were in action last week. As a matter of fact, last Thursday night while we were in the studio at Volusia Speedway Park, and Jimmy Owens led all 40 laps for his first victory there, and then he decided to do it 2 more times. He came back Friday night, won again, and got the trifecta on Saturday night at Volusia to close out the racing action there. Next race for the World of Outlaws is coming up at Smoky Mountain Speedway March 6th and 7th.
That's pretty quick, too.
That it? Well, that's like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's when my surgery is, March 6th.
You'll have plenty of time to...
Maybe I'll get to watch some racing.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know if I'll be able to remember it, though.
If he stays awake.
That sleepy stuff
Awesome
only
dreams.
lasts, a couple, 3 hours.
Oh, okay. Some leftover notes from last week. I've also been very busy at work, too. So,
Well-
I didn't do my prep until when you were calling. I was finishing my prep.
I thought that's what our associate producer was supposed to do.
Well, that helps, too. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I'd be screwed tonight. I'd be like, I don't know what the hell's going on. NASCAR action, the dual winners last Thursday night, Joey Logano and William Byron. Did you watch the races? I didn't watch any of those.
Yeah.
Said anything worth noting in those?
Yeah. A lot of single file racing, and everybody was really afraid to screw their car ups for the 500. They just didn't want to take the backup car out, even though a lot of guys decided to start or drift to the tail during the 500. They didn't want to go out with an untested car. So
Any drama as far as the guys that were trying to make the field?
only a little. I think in the first one, I think it was Ross Chastain that had to race his way in, and I think. Anyway, whoever the other car was wrecked early on, so that was kind of a non-event. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of drama.
Okay. I didn't watch the truck or the Xfinity race either, but did you happen to catch any of those?
Yeah, I watched the truck race. I love the truck races.
I usually do.
I think the truck racing is probably the best racing in NASCAR.
Absolutely, especially at the big tracks like that
Right.
because they're so boxy.
Yeah.
But Noah Gragson, no, Grant Enfinger edged out Jordan Anderson by 1/100th of a second.
Anfinger is an ARCA graduate.
And I think that was the closest finish in the truck race, in the truck series.
I think it was 1/100th of a second.
I didn't.
It was-
I
I
think
saw
that's
the
what it
end
was,
of it,
yeah.
But I
Jordan,
mean,
it was.
yeah, Infigure came up and just gave him a little door coming to the line.
Yep.
And just nudged him out.
Noah Gragson was the winner Saturday in the Xfinity winner. And then, of course, Sunday's 500 was postponed to Monday after they ran 20 laps there.
And it rained.
And then, yeah, it rained. It was interesting. I like that they started it later in the afternoon on Monday, though, because then you could kind of watch it.
Sure.
Although I had President's Day off. For some reason, this company had President's Day
Really?
off, so I was
Lucky
like,
you.
yeah, it was kind of nice. But I think that's another reason I was so busy this week.
So they turned all the radio stations off?
No. We have artificial intelligence and centers of excellence
Okay.
that keep things running here at iHeart.
Is your intelligence artificial or is it real?
Moving on. So things
Help us out here, Scott.
I was gonna say, saying that anybody can do his job now.
things got moving on Monday with the Daytona 500, and it was pretty much a typical 500 there. There was the big one toward the end, and then the crazy finish at the end. It looked like Ryan Newman was going to win that thing, and got the bump there from Ryan Blaney, who said he was trying to push him
Right.
to the victory.
He said he wanted Newman to win and was just giving him little nudges, but bumpers didn't match quite right. And I don't know, Scott, if you watched it, the Cup cars were moving around a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, and he had quite a run coming, too, with Denny Hamlin there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's part of the aero package or if it's the track, but even the trucks and the Xfinity cars were hard-pressed to stay in a nice straight line.
Well, basically it turned Newman right into the wall shortly after coming off of turn 4 as they're coming to the tri-oval, and that hit was pretty intense.
It was.
Alone, and then it's upside down, gets hit in the driver's side door, and then skids to the upside down
across the start.
I think he ended up finishing 4th.
He did.
I think it's
Ninth.
Is that what
They scored him 9th.
Did they score him 9th? I
Ninth.
thought I'd heard 4th
Really?
before. Okay.
Okay.
But and then they're showing like all the fuel. I'm guessing that was fuel that
Yeah,
was
it
dumping out,
was.
and there was fire. And I'm like,
This
crap,
can't be good.
Yeah, get him out of there.
I say, me and Jordan are sitting there yelling. The gas was dumping.
Oh, you could see it running
Yeah.
out.
Which every time there's a wreck coming off of 4 there at the trial, every car always ends up upside down too. Every single time.
Great. Well, the big thing that got me was that when they showed that one replay of close up with how far in the halo bar was bent
Right.
in when he had the contact as he was upside down, right there in the driver's side door. And of course, then they're not saying anything about his condition.
They,
and
they
people
put the black curtains
black
up around
curtains
the
are up.
car.
That's never a good sign.
Right.
And people are speculating. I even saw somebody. I was monitoring Twitter because obviously they stopped the broadcast and you weren't going to learn anything. So I'm following Twitter and I'm seeing all these people just kind of saying everything. He's fine. He's dead. He's fine. I think one Twitter post I saw said, I saw he was declared dead at 9:25 p.m. I was like, what?
What? Yeah.
I'm like, unless this is from an official thing, why are people doing this? And then ended up being serious condition with non-life-threatening injuries was the initial report, which blew my mind. I was like, oh, man.
Scott, I don't know if you saw some of the internet chatter about the. Now, Ryan Newman is a Purdue graduate in mechanical engineering.
He's a Hoosier.
Yep, but he designed a couple of support bars back, I believe it was 09.
He had a flip at Daytona in 09, and they have the Ryan Newman bar, which is
the
like
Newman bar.
the visor bar.
Right, but there's also a bar that goes from the center of the halo, just outside the driver's view, and down to the right frame rail, which, because it was running down on an angle, would have taken a whole lot of the force of that impact. I firmly believe that without that bar, the outcome wouldn't have been anywhere near as great as it was.
No, the whole halo would have probably collapsed in.
Right.
And the whole thing is kind of surreal deal because then the next day you see him picture and he looks fine with, he's still in the hospital in his gown, and then Wednesday he's walking out
with the kids.
with his kids, yeah. And I was like, he doesn't have shoes on, does
Yeah, I
he?
was gonna say, did
I think.
Did you know?
I think
Did
those.
you notice that?
I think those were hospital socks.
I think those
know?
are regular
Well,
socks because he had
you'll
his
find
racing
out.
shoes on.
They don't slip.
He had his
Yeah.
racing shoes on
Yeah.
when they brought him in, I'm assuming.
I've got a hunch it was the hospital sock, but
You think so? I don't know.
you'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
They probably cut his racing shoes off.
That would make sense. But then how do you get the clothes in there? He's wearing jeans and a T-shirt. Like, couldn't they bring him shoes?
Walmart down the road.
Okay. Fair enough. So that's, that's all that's going on with Newman. Ross Chastain will fill in for Newman in the Roush Fenway number 6 this weekend at Las Vegas. I haven't seen that he's done any interviews or anything with anybody either.
I haven't either.
So he's probably just... I'm assuming he's probably getting a lot of requests for it. He's like, he's probably just saying, "Get the hell away from me. Leave me alone for a bit."
Everybody, from Roush and NASCAR said, please respect his privacy and leave him alone.
So do you think there's going to be any, well, before we get to that question, some other notes here from Dave Kemmer. He found a report that said when Corey LaJoie's car hit Ryan Newman's car, the roll bars were bent down to 6 inches above his steering wheel. NASCAR reported that LaJoie's car hit Newman's at 55 Gs. That's 6 times more than a fighter jet pulls in a turn.
And that's a bunch.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine 55 Gs.
Well, I saw reports about LaJoie. He had burns from the seat belts from that impact. And when he was that picture of him kneeling outside his car, he was
Said he couldn't feel his hands and feet.
yeah, he was moving his hands and
shaking
feet, and he was kind of had the wind knocked out of him and everything. So I mean, no, that's,
At 55 Gs, just running the math, a 200-pound guy would be like 10,000 pounds, Scott.
that seems excessive. I don't like that.
No.
So, do you think there's going to be any anytime something scary happens in NASCAR? I mean, luckily the outcome wasn't terrible this time. They will look and see if there's going to be changes.
I think what we saw with Newman's car,
Or is that an example of the safety working?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think what we saw with Newman's car was a worst-case scenario.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe there's going to be any significant changes. Tim, I'm sure you remember back in the day the East Coast pavement modifieds were outrageously strong. Boy, they could run them into the wall and change a tire, and the car was fine, but the driver was gone.
Yep.
And NASCAR learned a lot that you've got to have crumple zones, and I think that's what we saw. And again, it was a worst-case scenario.
Well, I read something that they took both Newman's car and LaJoie's car for.
Yes.
to-
Oh,
both
absolutely.
They both
do-
went to the
And-
R&D center.
And
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, I wouldn't be
But-
surprised something else don't come out of it.
And Ron, you know as well as I do, the A-pillar that took the shot has to be the weakest part on a roll cage.
It does.
Around the cockpit.
It does, because it turns 45, 50 degrees to go up to meet the halo, and there's a little support down support bar, but
And you don't want to put a lot of extra bars because then it gets into the driver's view.
and
Well,
it
and if
makes
you
it,
want to be able to get him out.
and it
too.
makes it difficult to get in and out of
Yeah.
the car. So
So do you think there's going to be any changes coming out of this?
I don't think so.
Just kind of
I would be surprised,
Okay.
and they're going to look at Ryan Newman and say, hey, look, this was a worst-case scenario, and he survived with a concussion, which is where I think he's at.
What about local tracks maybe coming up with stepping up their safety equipment game? Think there's going to be any trickle down?
I don't know. They could mandate a couple of bars,
Maybe
Not even just bars, but I mean maybe just driver safety equipment. Window nets,
Most tracks,
Hans devices.
most tracks are Hans devices for late models and modifieds, and highly recommended in other classes.
I think like all the wheeling series and all that have to have it already.
Right.
Anything that's like NASCAR sanctioned. Obviously, the Limaland's
Get right
NASCAR
up on that
sanctioned.
mic there.
Oh, sorry about
There you
that. Obviously, Limaland's NASCAR sanctioned, but they ain't got no rules like that in effect like Eldora does on us. So it's hard to tell.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
up to the tracks at this point, but
Most tracks are requiring an electrical shutoff that can be accessed from the outside. The modifieds and late models are requiring better fuel cells than what we had. The dirt car rules that I read say that the onboard fire system now is highly recommended. But
Wasn't that a controversy a couple
A
years
whole
ago
lot,
where
a
they were
whole
going to
lot.
mandate that?
I believe that it's still required in
It's required in the World of Outlaws.
World of Outlaws,
Yeah.
but I think it's highly recommended now in dirt car, both mods and
Even the Eldora stocks and mods both have to have them.
right. Yeah, Eldora's rules precede the dirt car stuff.
Yep.
Let's touch base with some other news here, and then we'll get to the Conovers.
Go
Talk
ahead.
About their racing. Janet Guthrie, Dale Earnhardt Sr. have been named as the 2020 inductees of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame. Guthrie became the first female assigned to a car on the entry list in the Indy 500 back in 1976. She did not make a qualifying attempt that year. She returned in 77, became the first female to qualify for the Indy 500. She also became the first female to drive in a NASCAR race
Wow.
on a super speedway, competing in the grueling 1976 World 600 at Charlotte. Earnhardt, one of the most respected and successful figures in motorsports, amassed 5 top 10 finishes in just 7 starts at the Brickyard 400, including a victory in '95. The induction ceremony and the Indianapolis Old Timers Dinner will be held May 21st in downtown Indy. You going to that? I think you should be inducted.
I probably. my laps around Indy have been kind of limited, though.
Fremont Speedway has released their schedule. Their season will be kicking off on April 18th with the Attica Fremont Championship Series sprint cars for the 410s, 305s, and trucks will be in action. And then their season wraps up with the Jim and Joanne Ford Classic on September 18th and 19th. We're going to have Dwayne Hancock in next week to talk about the AFCS, so we'll have
Right.
more information on that. Other highlights of their schedule, it's pretty standard for Fremont. The All-Stars, a few shows there, Boss Series, NRA 360s, and, of course, the AFCS dates. For full schedule, check out FremontOHSpeedway.com. There's a change in format for the 410s. The cars will qualify one car at a time, but within their heat. Heats will be determined by a pill draw, and then the lineup within the heat by the qualifying.
Okay, so you'll draw into a heat race.
Draw into the heat race and
after
then-
you qualify.
So, no, the
Oh,
heat,
okay.
when they go there, draw.
So you'll
they'll
draw
be,
into
they'll be put into their heat
you'll draw
race.
into a group. Okay,
Yes, group qualifying, I guess you'd say, but one
Yep.
car at a time.
all right.
So.
You know, there's a couple of tracks that have been somewhat lacking in getting their schedules out. I'm kind of surprised, Scott.
I had some messages today, and I did not look at them. I probably should have.
Oakshay not out yet?
Let me see.
Something like that.
Oh, nope, those are just photos. Because I still got to update the championship photos. I guess that's all I got there. I don't, unless nope, I think that's it.
That's it, huh?
But there's been talk. I've had some communication, but I do not have the schedule yet.
And that's not the only one. There are a
But
couple of
they're-
other tracks.
They're working on
I
it.
saw that Butler just recently put their schedule out. No idea any progress on the wall, and Chris hasn't called us to let us
I
know.
never did hear back from Chris, so I don't know. Don't know. Members of the ABC Body Committee confirmed that five-star race car body's ABC Next Gen body has been approved for competition starting in 2025. That's for the pavement late models. Remember, and there was a big controversy.
Well, and there still is, you know.
Is it still going on?
Yeah, that's pretty far out, Scott. I mean, that's 5 years down the road.
Well, I think some people are using some series are using
Right.
it now because the body came out in 19.
Right.
And then they're also still trying to work with AR bodies. That's the other manufacturer to keep two manufacturers in the program.
Well, and AR bodies, their updated package just
I
requires.
feel like we've been talking about this for like the last 2 years.
AR's body doesn't require a complete rebody. You can make updates to your car. You can use the same greenhouse and hood and deck lid and some of the sides. But 5 stars, you've got to. It's got to be the entire package. There's nothing you can reuse.
And those things are expensive, too.
Yeah, they are.
And this was supposed to keep costs down, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy the way that works out sometimes. The series that have already adopted them for competition starting in 2021 include Championship Racing Association, Southern Super Series, ARCA Midwest Tour, Cars Tour, and the SRL Southwest Tour. And one final note here. Good luck to the Rebel, Dennis Wisman. He's going to be competing down there in the Southern World Finals Outlaw Figure 8 Championship.
In Florida.
Competing for $15,000 to win at Showtime Speedway. Yep, down there in Florida on Saturday. Is that on anything? Can we watch that?
I don't know.
Because that'd be pretty cool to see.
I don't know. Maybe somebody will let us know if it's going to be televised somewhere.
Was that the race he got hurt in last year? He had that big crash?
Could be.
I remember we talked. I thought that was last year. So good luck to Dennis.
Dennis the Rebel Wisman.
Yeah. He's a crazy figure 8 driver.
If he wins, we probably won't see him at bowling next week.
Probably not. If he wins, we'll have to get him back on.
Absolutely.
In the studio. Talk about his experience there.
Anybody in figure 8's crazy.
Even if he loses, we'll have to have him back on.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
What?
John Young needs to know when the home opener is at Oakshade so he can get it off from work.
Last Saturday.
It'll be in Saturday. Take all the Saturdays off in the end of April, beginning of May.
Yep.
You'll be fine.
Your class, I'm sure, is going to start last Saturday in April.
I don't know.
Everybody will be on first Saturday in May.
There's a history of that first Saturday or that last Saturday in April with rain, so I don't know if I'm not even going to speculate. I'm not.
Don't speculate. We'll just tell him be ready the last Saturday in April, and if.
But if he takes that off and has to work the following week, he's going to be pissed.
He'll be early.
Be early.
Sick day.
There you go. Jordan Conover, Tim Conover in the studio with us tonight. I would say I've raced against you, but I would say I've lost against you.
You were on the same track.
I was at the same speedway. I think a couple times at Millstream.
Yeah, probably 2015, 2016.
Yeah. Back when the Hammers were running it?
Yep.
You run that?
Yeah, we ran the Jenkins Memorial and all
Jenkins
that.
Memorial, yes.
Thomas put on. Thomas actually helps us on the cars now. That's kind of where I got to know him.
Gee, I wonder what's happening down at Millstream, Scott.
He sent me a message the other night.
Weeds are growing.
Still growing weeds.
Weeds are growing. Yeah, what's the latest update from your buddy down there? When's the last time you talked to him?
It's been a couple months.
Well, that's a lot more recent than I have. What do you have to say? Anything you can share?
Nothing. Nothing concrete.
Nothing concrete. Did he even? I know he said last year, or he had told you last year that he was planning on trying to run some races last year, and of course that never came to fruition.
Right.
Has he said anything about that, or is this year he's just not even gonna?
I haven't heard anything that even was even remotely encouraging.
That's disappointing.
I'd be thrilled if he lied to me. You know,
Ron, we're gonna run late models every Sunday night. And outlaw late models as well. Bring your sideboard down.
Yeah, both cars, bring them down.
Yeah. No, but we were talking before the show. Very fun track to run down there.
Yeah, I actually enjoy that track. It's different. It's a lot different than most tracks around here. You know, them real long straightaways, hairpin corners. It's if you get a groove up top, it gets real interesting. But usually it's around the bottom, right around the wall.
Yeah, that was the track I almost ran over Tony Stewart in.
That's the track I got told to go out and run the track in.
By Tony Stewart?
Yeah, he yelled at me. He told me,
I think that was the
get my
same
butt
night.
out there. I was going to be starting the tail.
That was the same night because he was on his little four-wheeler and you got the walls
All-Stars
there.
were there.
Yeah, you got the walls around the inside and he was down on the inside. We were running in the inside and coming around the corner, there he is coming at me and I'm like, oh,
See, we've known Tony since back in the Running the Rumble days. He was actually pretty good buddies with Tony because Mike Stryker, who got me started in quarter midgets. But yeah, he told me to get out there and he said, just stay towards the top. It's not as wet.
Yeah, we've had a few nights drinking beer together. So,
So you got started running quarter midgets?
Yeah, I started racing quarter midgets when I was 9 years old. I think I was in like 4th grade, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, you want to play football or race cars?" Huh? Dumb question. Now he's just spent a bunch of money on me.
Which would have been cheaper?
football.
Could have paid better too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty scrawny there, Ron.
Water boys might have got something.
They could bulk you up.
So after you ran the Rumble in Fort Wayne? You said?
Yeah, I ran the Rumble in Quarter Midgets, won 4 times out there.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then a few years ago, I went out and ran a cart for Sean Lynn, and I'll never do that again.
Why is that?
Because I came out of the damn thing.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Hell no, it hurt. I finished the weekend, but I didn't want to do it.
Nice. Did you ever get to race directly against Tony out there?
No, I never got to run the midgets.
Okay.
Ever since I had a quarter midgets, I've just been racing stock cars and modifieds. I've never went back to open wheel.
And when did you start in the stock car?
2012.
Okay. So you weren't down at when it was Flag City Speedway?
No,
the
I think
90s.
my first laps around Millstream were in 2015, I believe.
But your home track is Limaland.
Yeah, it's Lima. I mean, I always try to say, back Eldor, but it's Lima. I love racing Lima. I've been there since I started out. So.
And you run Eldora too?
Yep, and I run Eldor too.
And Montpelier?
Yeah, you make a few trips to Montpelier, ran Kokomo and Moeller, and we try to travel, and then it doesn't happen, so we're going to try again this year.
So you run in the Bud Thunderstock class at Limaland, but you also have a modified as
Yes.
well. And you've told me earlier you've just been running the modified since 16.
Yeah, we bought one in the end of 16.
How'd that come about?
We just thought we were ready to move on, and we wanted to move up. Had a few wins in the stock car division. We've done something that a lot of people can't say they've done. We won a race, so we thought we were good enough to move on, and we kept my stock car for a year, and then we sold it, and then I realized stock cars were fun, and I really liked racing with them guys, so
Then you just do both.
I built 2 mod chassis, and one was I just happened to build out of 1.75", and it had no motor mounts in it. And he told me, he's like, "Don't you dare put that as a stock car." Well, I put the motor mounts in and made a stock car.
Yeah, what was your feeling about this?
I knew it was going to
How
happen.
much of this was yours?
The
As
money.
in which way? Money?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
the cars?
Ownership. How much of the car was actually yours?
I'd say he owns 80% of them.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, it depends if the wife's around or not, how much I'll take credit on.
That's
You
a
guys
safe-
plan on running both cars for points this year, or
That's the plan as long as we can get the help.
Sure.
The thing we've realized with running 2 classes, and there's guys out there that do it already, is you kind of start to neglect a car, and you want to do good in the modified division because obviously that's your next step. So
Modifieds pay a little better?
they pay a little better, depends where you're at. But we just usually would neglect a car while we're at the track, and we'd miss things. Cost me the championship at Limaland last year because we didn't notice that the pole bar mount was ripping out of the stock car because we were focused on getting the mod ready. So we're kind of getting some guys around this year, and
going to have one crew dedicated
one
to
crew
each car?
dedicated to each car. Yep, don't go
So
mixing and matching.
That's the kind of help you're talking. You're not talking about sponsorship. You're talking
Oh,
about
I mean,
actual-
if someone wants to sponsor, hey, I'm all for it. But
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tim's on board with that
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
100%.
it really helps running 2 cars. Honestly, you would think that it would cost a lot more, but once you get to the track, you ain't paying entry fees for 2 cars. I'm a one driver. I pay my
Don't
pit
you have
pass,
to
and
pay for both to be able to
No.
run in both.
You
classes?
double dip.
you double,
Pay
yeah.
for to get in, and you run both classes.
So I'm paying 1 pit pass. I get to run both, and honestly, it helps fund the other car. I never believed that, but Tony Anderson told me one year that his stock car is his moneymaker, and that's how it helped. And when we did it, it's true. It really helps.
Okay.
As long as you don't tear things up.
Let's talk about the championship run you had this past year. You actually came. I guess you entered the final night 24 points out and ended up finishing 8.
8 points back.
So how disappointing was that? Because that would have been your first championship.
Yeah, I led in 2016 up until like two races ago, and had an incident and lost that one. But yeah, we won the first 2 nights out this year, and was leading the 3rd night out when the pole bar mount broke, and that kind of put us way back, and we kind of just kept digging up through there. But going into last night, I mean, my odds of winning it were out. Daniel Sanchez should have won the championship flat out. He had it locked down. All he had to do, I think he had to finish like 8th or 7th, but he got dumped on lap 2 intentionally.
By you?
No, not by me.
Okay.
No, me and
Just checking.
No, me and Daniel, we're real good friends. We're buddies. I think 2017 or something like that. He introduced himself, and there was one night he was blocking me, and he made me mad. And I went down to say something to him, tell him to stay out of the way, and we became friends after that. We've always been friends. If you look on his Facebook, there's a picture of him doing like a burnout when he got dumped, and there's a 7 slapped on his rear bumper cover. And that's the picture I know, because when I came around the track and I seen him sitting down there, all I saw was that 7 on the tail cover, and I was like, oh, that looks so bad.
And of course, that's your number. Just sort of. I mean, I'm
It
familiar
was
with
his
that.
decal stuck on there.
Where'd the 7 come from?
It was just an extra little decal I had.
No, I mean, how'd you choose? Is there a reason behind the?
When
the
I
7?
started quarter midgets, I was 19. I had this dirt bike game, and Ricky Carmichael's dirt bike number was 19. I always thought that was my favorite number, and I started racing. Was it about 2007? No, that'd been too long. About 2000.
Been 6 because you'd been in the Peterbilt car.
Yep, we got hooked up with Rick Doherty with Peterbilt, Northwest Ohio, and he sponsored me. And he looked at me and said, "You got 2 options. You can either run 7 or 14. And that's it." So I decided 7, and Cooper Klaus actually was the other driver that he brought on. Cooper took 14. I'm still 7. He's still 14.
So what was the reason between those 2 numbers?
I don't know. I think it was his number.
That was Rick's numbers coming up through.
So I kept it. I'm a lucky number 7. I've always been it ever since.
That's probably a good choice in the numbers.
Well, it was
Number
always
7.
my uncle was number 8, so it was always funny. So when he came out of retirement, I always gave him a bunch of crap and said, 7 always becomes 4 8, so you're gonna lose.
That's true. That's true. Wait, I'm 8. That's why you always beat me then.
Your shirt even says
It
it.
does.
I don't know. I've lost a couple times to guys that have numbers that aren't even in the amount of cars on the track.
Well, some people's numbers are just letters, so I don't know what that numbers are supposed to come first before letters, right?
You would think, yeah.
Anyway, you won the King of the Quarter Mile.
Yes.
This year. Tell us about what that is and what that means to you and how.
That was the one big race of Lima I hadn't won. I won the Keyser Memorial. I'd won the Steve Brown. I never won the Fricky because they got rid of it before.
And Jerry Keyser,
I had
awesome
a
guy.
chance. Oh yeah, I love Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first night I won the Keyser Memorial, it was kind of funny because we were running trucks and he was parked beside us and he needed a neck brace. And he said, "Hey, this is your good luck. You're going to win tonight." And so I won that race. But yeah, going into the King, I knew I had a good shot at it this year. The car was fast.
How do you get to that race?
You either win a race, and if there's not 6 winners on the year, then they bring in the next couple guys in points. So if you got 4 winners, then the next 2 highest guys in points get into the race. There's always 6 cars at least. I think we had 7 that started the race this year.
So it's kind of like a little Busch Clash.
Yeah, kind of. You got to earn your ride into it. So you either got to have a good season if you don't win, or you just got to win races. But I mean, I want to race Tony. Who else won? Chris Douglas. I'm losing names here. I'm bad at that. There were 6 winners, and then they brought in 2 from the following year, the previous year. Jessup, yep, Jeffrey Jessup, and so that's how you kind of get into it. And then Tony took off leading it, and Jeff was second, and I was third. And
Where'd you start from?
I started 6th.
Oh wow! So you had your work cut out for
Nice
you.
draw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they draw for us, and the one year I got the pole, something happened that year. We won't bring that up.
I always laugh because that was always the race that always failed me from winning at Limaland. I mean, with Kevin Gossard, the twin brother. So the first time we win it, I have a boy here that every time he wins anymore now at Lima, he gives the trophy away. So ask him what he did with his trophy.
Yeah, I gave that big king trophy away. It's got the crown on top of it. I ain't got that now. That was a hard one to give away. I tried for 7 years and run that race. The first 5 years, I finished last every time.
Have you tried to buy that trophy back?
No, I actually gave it away to Sean Dancer's nephew. And Sean won the
Sean
King
won
of the
that
Quarter
night.
that night, so they left out there with 2 king trophies. I kind of thought that was funny, but I just picked a kid random out of the crowd, so. But,
Well, you made his night.
it's just a piece of plastic.
Well, and you got your picture, so
Yeah.
and you can say you won.
Yeah, I got it.
Mile. So was that one of your biggest wins?
That's
then?
probably my biggest win. Between that and my feature win at Eldora. I mean, it's just special to win down at Eldora. You get up on that stage, it's different. So.
And when did you get that one?
2016.
Okay.
So I should have had one this year. Well, I can't say that. It was going to be a good battle between. Well, last year it was going to be a good battle between me and Ernie Woodard, and a lap car had a flat, and he made like a 3-lane change, and I destroyed the front of my car at the white flag.
So how many times did you run at Eldora?
We only ran there 3 times.
Okay.
There was
that all?
6 races on the schedule, and 3 of them rained out. That was the only.
So you ran all the races?
Yeah,
ahead
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I broke the first night, broke the second night, hit a car the third night.
Which track do you prefer running, Limaland or Eldora?
Lima. Just, I like the little bull rings. They're fun.
Do you have to do anything? Do a lot of changes to your car to get it ready for Eldora?
I changed gear.
That's it.
I don't change anything setup wise.
I wouldn't. You're not supposed to give away the secrets like that.
Yeah, but see, I always told
But
them.
we don't know what your setup is.
They don't believe us
If
anyways.
you tell them the truth, they still think you're lying.
Okay.
So it really doesn't matter. You can lie to them or tell them the truth. They're going to not believe you either way.
How is the competition down there at El
Competition's hard at Eldora. You got Paul Pardo, Ernie Woodard, Donnie Jeschke, Chris Douglas is fast down there. I mean, there's a lot of good competition down there at Eldora. It's kind of different guys from Lima to Eldora. You know, Ernie don't come up to Lima no more. Chris runs Lima, but you kind of just have like a different top five. Tony started running Eldora again this year, so he kind of added another good car there. And
Even Frank Palladino.
even Frank, yeah. Frank's got wins at Eldora. He's got 3 wins at Eldora, I think. 2 or 3.
Would you like to see more stock races?
I like
at
the competition. I saw where, is it?
See, the racers like racing. But as car owners like us, I'd rather run 3 races for $5,000 for the points championship than run 10 races. But they want to race. I'm like, I like the 3 for $5,000.
Yeah, I think it's what, Tom Rislow? Is that his name? Who was your guys' track champion this year?
Oh, Rushlow.
Rushlow. I always
Terry
get
Rushlow, yeah.
Terry.
Terry.
Okay, yep. I'm sorry, butchered that name. But yeah, I saw where he's coming, and Craig's going to come to Lima.
Craig Dipman, yeah.
Yep, I like-
and probably Danny Dipman some too. I don't know.
I mean, I love seeing that. I'd
So these
rather
guys
see
are coming to your track. And
Yeah, I'd rather see it.
You said you were coming to
I'm going
Oakshade
to come to
try and get
Oakshade
the
once.
$1,000.
Yeah, I saw there was a $1,000 win show, so
See,
I got
those guys are top competition for that $1,000 at Oakshade.
There's a few things I got to change on the car, but I'm going to come. Got to get some
You're going to have to find somebody you can get
H500
from.
tires, yes. And
Yeah,
know
don't you put any
know anybody I can
H500s?
get that? Get those from?
Don't you be putting H500s on. We do the Towel City retreads.
Either one. As long as they hold up, that's all
Yeah.
I care about. We'll get them to work.
Ron sells those.
Yeah, he had a stack there where last time we were there. I was like, you think I can get 4 of these out of here without him noticing?
I think I had some of them back in the early 2000s.
They've been around a long time, and Oakshade was faced with a real dilemma with the DOT tires because 15-inch tires are just getting they're dinosaurs. Nobody makes a good high-performance street tire anymore.
They suck to race on, too.
And you know, I mean, they were near $150 a tire. So I proposed that Towel City tire, and everybody says, "Oh my God, a recap! They're going to be leaving treads all over the track," and that hasn't happened. It's been a good choice, and they're $85, and they'll still be $85 in 2020.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap. I think what's a Hoosier? The EMA tires 130 with something, 140.
Yeah, probably 140.
I mean, I got plentiful because I talked to Craig last year, said about coming up, and he said, "Well, don't go buy nothing yet. We're trying to get it changed." And then I talked to him again. And he said, "Yeah, no, they didn't get it changed."
That's funny because I know that's true.
If I didn't have to spend new tires, I wasn't going to. But
See, I'm blaming the tires on that's why you kicked my ass at Millstream.
Yeah, because you were still on the DOT tires
No,
back when you had Millstream. I'm pretty sure.
no. I had the retreads.
You
I've been
think?
running the retreads for years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd run a 2-barrel too.
Yeah, I had 4-barrel.
That was our rules. We had to run 2 barrels.
Yeah.
Even though our 2 barrels flow as much as a 4-barrel,
Yeah.
Not enough fuel.
So what are the plans for this year? What are you gonna be doing?
We're going to chase the Limaland Championship again. I'm tired of not winning that.
Stocks
Both
and
cars.
mods.
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's subject to change throughout the year depending on how much work comes in. You know, if I was going to bail out on one at the track, it'd be the mod. Just go chase other tracks with it. You can travel anywhere with a modified in the state of Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. You can go anywhere. But yeah, we're going to chase championship at Lima. And we're going to chase championship at Eldora with just a stock car. We might take the mod down, you know.
Do you have a preference between the running the mod or the stock? One more fun than the other? I know you said you went to the mod and came back to the stock. So
I love racing the mod. I like having to better myself. That's a lot of good competition. You're racing against a lot of money. But I just love racing with the guys in the stock car class. I've been racing with them forever. You know, it's just kind of...
So it's not necessarily the class, it's the other guys you're running against.
Yeah, that's a lot of it, honestly. You know, I know these guys. You know, I know how they run. I know how they drive. You go hopping in the modifieds and jump into a different track, you know, you run into 20 different cars you never ran against, you know. I know what these guys are going to do on most any given night. They know what I'm going to do. We kind of.
Well, that's the part of the challenge of running the mod, then, right?
It
There's
is.
a lot of people running mods.
You know, we run stock cars. We've been good in the stock cars for a lot of years. I would say we're a good team in the stock cars. And when, you know, we go from being, you know, one of the top teams in the stock cars and then jumped on the modifieds and we're nobody. It's kind of cool. You got to kind of prove yourself. So I like doing that.
Any plans to maybe move up to maybe combine things, get rid of the mod, get rid of the stock, get a late model?
It's been a talk.
That's been talked about?
It's been
Okay.
a talk.
What do you think about that? What
It's just...
is that reaching into the pockets a little too deep, or?
No, I mean, like, the cost between a mod and a late, I mean, they're going to be a little bit different, but there's not a lot. I mean, when the NASCAR boys came into the open wheel mods, they blew that class out of proportion. I mean, it's not the, you know, not to be mean about it, but they say that the NASCAR boys helped the modifieds. No, they actually brought it in. When you got to go buy $40,000 motors, put your car on pull-down rigs, you know, they took it away from the local garage builder guy that could build a car and a motor and go compete and win. To now you can't even compete. I mean, it's NASCAR's, I mean, it's had its good points and it's had its bad points in racing, if you'd ask me about it.
Didn't Kenny Wallace go to the mods? Didn't he have a late model he was running?
Yeah,
too?
he did.
Yeah.
Schrader
But
did.
he decided to go back to the mods because it was more economical, I believe is what he said.
Well, yeah, it depends on who's paying your bills.
In Kenny's world.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of had to talk about this on the way up here because we were talking about, I ran the Nationals down to Eldora in 2016, and I took all my shocks off my stock car, which were just Coney shocks that you bought from...
And the motor.
And the motor. Took the motor out, too, and threw it in the modified, and I didn't realize what I was up against when I got down there. And, you know, these guys are running $2,000, $3,000 shock packages and, yeah, 18, 15, 11-degree motors, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I getting into, man? I don't know.
23-degree motor. And
So I think the cost is just kind of meeting in the middle, but I know the biggest thing in late models is engine, you know, them big engines.
and even with building the engines, that gets...
I was going to
Big
say,
money.
you do the engines, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we build engines too. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, but obviously your difference between going out and finding a 400 GM block and buying a billet aluminum block for a late model is going to probably be a little different.
Nah, not too much.
Nothing.
You always go crate racing.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's Great Lakes Crate Series up in Michigan area,
Yeah.
putting together.
Right?
Late models and sprints.
They bought a track so that when
Yeah.
they're not traveling, the guys have a place to race.
And they're still running them at Fremont, aren't they?
No.
No, really?
No, they pulled the plug on that 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't keep up on that stuff enough.
Yeah, they just weren't getting the car counts there.
Well, I know, used to be my boss, Steve McCullough. I know he sponsored that ordeal. So,
Maybe they were just a little too early. I don't know.
I think crate racing, I mean, it's up north, it's down south. It
It's
just kind of
huge.
hasn't made its way here
It's
yet.
huge down south. It
Yeah.
really is.
I mean, you go down to like Tennessee and all that, they got crate classes and everything.
Well, and that Great Lakes Crate Series is also doing a crate sprint car. And I guess there's a sprint car series, and what they told us a couple of weeks ago was there's a sprint car series that folded in Indiana, a crate series. And between the two, the Great Lakes Crate Series and the Indiana ones, it looks like they're going to have huge fields of crate sprint cars.
Now, is that coming off the Great Lakes Sprint Series that Barry runs? Is that the same? Is he promoting that one too?
I don't think so.
Really? So I know Barry used to, Barry Miles, Marlowe, whatever. I can't remember his last name right now, but I know he does the sprint cars up there, the Great Lakes Super Sprints, and yeah, he used to buy fuel off him.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I didn't know if that was kind of a spinoff there.
We lose you there for a minute, Scott?
Yeah, I was catching up on some of the Facebook
Okay.
live comments, trying to figure out some things.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of got lost. It happens. Sponsors, you want to plug?
Oh yeah. Hopefully, trying to still get a couple of them come back. Got a couple of them already coming back. Got a Lucky's Tap Room and Eatery, Andrew Trick. We teamed up with him in 2016 when he was helping Donnie Jeschke, and Donnie rolled my stock car at Eldora. But he's been sponsoring me ever since.
Yeah,
Hell of a
going from
guy.
That one.
He's got one of our cars, so I mean, he runs with us. I've always liked Drew. Martin's Meat Market in Forest, McKee Auto Sales, Advanced Auto Parts, Kenton, Ohio, Calais Performance out of Fostoria sponsor us. Got a couple more we're trying to get back. Omnisource, not Omnisource, Omni Feed and Supply.
Omnisource, that'd be a good deal.
Yeah.
A couple of them got them. Like Jeff Cos has Omnisource there in Lima. I've seen a couple of them out in Indiana because we sell hoppers to them guys. I think I could get a sponsorship out of them.
Try it.
But doesn't hurt to
Omni
ask.
Feed and Supply out of Lima, Finley. Gosh.
Have Steve send a letter.
Yeah, there you go. I don't see him that often. Like I said, we sold. We're owned by a different company now, so I asked them if they wanted to sponsor. He told me no too.
Oh,
So you do pretty good. You don't even have it written down.
Usually, if it's a Victory Lane interview, I usually got to turn around and look at the
turns
car.
around and reads the car.
That's what most people do. That's the
You
easiest
just something about these microphones, they just make you lose your train of thought.
thing. It happens. I understand how that works.
And then then you always forget your engine sponsor, and
Yeah,
the
guy
that
the guy
pays
that.
for most of the bills.
The 80% guy?
Yeah.
So yeah, but
let's talk about your car building a little bit. You said that there's guys running your cars, so
we got a couple guys. Andrew Trick runs one. Thomas Faust has a car. Corey Wooten has my old car for sale right now. I know who's buying it, but they don't.
What kind of cars are
you're
these?
sworn to secrecy.
Stock cars. They're all stock cars. I haven't sold a modified yet.
Okay.
Modifieds are kind of like, it's like I said, we just need that finish, that big finish, or someone to get out there in another one of our cars and do good. I think they would take off better than stock cars. Stock car guys don't want to go out and spend big money on new cars.
No.
I build new cars because it's cheaper for me than going and buying them. So
understand.
I've had a few guys get with me and ask about having cars built, and it's just money. Takes a lot of it. I'm not that bad on prices.
Not that bad on prices. If somebody's interested in a car, how can they get a hold of you guys?
Just get a hold of me on Facebook's the easiest way. Just shoot me a personal message.
Jordan Conover. I saw you have Jordan Conover Racing.
Yeah,
as well.
either one. They both
Okay.
come to my phone. So, but yeah,
What about you?
he'll tell him to get a hold of me.
Okay.
Send me a message. I always say, get a hold of Jordan. I'll give him the phone number.
That works.
So yeah,
Because I've kind of switched it over and let him have the chassis business now, and I'd prefer to just do the setups, the geometry, and the motors.
So is it just stock car and modified chassis you do right now?
I haven't dwindled into the late model world. Maybe.
What about sprint car?
No.
No, no tumble bunnies.
Okay.
I'm not. I watch sprint car racing. I don't want to get in one. I have no urges to.
Okay. Now, have you ever dumped anybody
Oh yeah,
intentionally?
Yeah.
I know you'd say.
Not in stock car division. I've
really?
never dumped anybody in stock car division. We had the big spat of that a few years ago with Bob Daughtry, and I still stand behind myself. I didn't dump him on purpose. Now, quarter midgets? Yeah. There was one kid one night, I put him in the fence, and I think about 4 other drivers did too.
So he deserved it, is what you're
Oh,
saying.
he deserved it.
He got the message.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Grandpa, after about the 5th wreck, and it was a different driver every time wrecking him, his grandpa finally said, get the car off the track. I want to take it home in one piece.
Oh,
But
Any-
no, never in stock car division or modified. So never
Any
done.
altercations, in the pit area with anybody? I know you said that you walked over to talk to, was it Sanchez?
Yeah. No, I mean, you know how it goes. Drivers,
I know how it goes, that's why I asked.
drivers get into it. We yell at each other. The next week, we're fine. We're talking.
We got some
It's-
big guys on our crew.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
When you got a couple 300-plus pounders on your crew, that helps.
There's always been.
And then
There's
a couple
always
of
going
our
to be
crew
that.
members are deputy sheriffs, so hey, we'll sit behind them every night.
Well, that seems intimidating.
I try to go after them. They just grab me and kind of pull me back. It's like kind of like a cartoon.
Pulling
You
a
just kind of
twig away from the dog.
Yeah.
Who, your crew does?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably a smart move. on
Yeah.
your
There was
part.
one night which Chris Douglas, he has one of your cars,
Right.
And, that car does real well. And there's a night me and Chris got into it, and I thought I was going to go be, mean, and I went over there, and my crew member Mikey kind of grabbed me, and I had a flat tire, and I kind of like plopped it down, and I think Chris just kind of laughed at me, which I'd expect. Chris is a good guy, big guy. He's a lot bigger than I am.
You don't really strike me as intimidating. No offense.
No.
But
Oh,
No.
yeah. I mean, ask me about his Jeremy Creech one night at Eldora.
Oh yeah, Jeremy.
Jeremy Creech he's what is Jeremy, 6'3"?
Probably 6'3", 300 pounds. I don't know.
And I
Big
mean,
guy.
and-
They call him Hoghead.
And Jeremy's one of the best guys to know now. And he got out Eldor, and we was parked right side by side. And Jordan jumps out, and he's up, and he's in Jeremy's face, and he's just pointing that finger and just lipping. And Jeremy just looked at him and smiled and walked in the trailer. What was you then? 18?
Yeah, 18, 19.
20 pounds less than today.
Probably.
That's scary.
So did you learn anything from that?
No.
Okay.
I'll still go yell at him. It ain't gonna do no good, but
All right. Well, good luck in both the mod and the stock this year,
I appreciate it.
and try and bring home a championship this year.
We're gonna try. It's
get
hard. I mean, we race against a lot of good
Well,
guys.
he
over
made
there.
me a bet the other night. I'll say it here on the
Yeah,
radio.
I did.
And he guaranteed me if I kept the car together for him all year without breaking, that he'd get me a championship. So my goal is this year, I'm only working on my stock car. We brought a couple guys in to do the mod. I'm going to hold him to this one.
There we go.
So what happens if he doesn't win the championship then, and the car holds together the entire year?
Nothing.
Might have to be a
you
Ralphie's
get-
night with beer and wings.
There you go. I'll buy him dinner.
All right. Fair enough. Good luck, like I said, again, next year. Or this year, actually. It's coming up. When's
Yeah.
the first race at Limaland?
May 3rd.
Okay.
May 3rd, May 1st.
Hopefully we don't have the same crap that we had last year.
Oh, I
I know,
hope
like,
not.
all of May got wiped out. With
5
that
races
rain.
in a row we lost.
Yeah. You think that would have, you think maybe if you got to run those other races, you could
It's
have
hard.
overcome
It's hard
that?
telling. I mean, it's
It's all speculation.
all yeah. I mean, Lima. It's just consistency. I mean, we're racing against some real consistent guys. You look at Tony. Tony's ran how many years? There's one year he never won a single race, and he still won the championship. I think he didn't even have to show up the last night. So consistency wins championships. It's true. So
all right.
don't-
Get her done.
Don't break.
Get her done. Jordan Conover, Tim Conover, thanks guys for coming in tonight. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Let's talk a little bit. How many?
How many?
How many? Yeah,
Oh,
you guys get to play too.
Don't leave. We're
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't got nowhere to go.
You're involved.
All right.
Last week's how many was actually a who is, I suppose, who was picking the Daytona 500 winner, and of course Denny Hamlin was the winner.
Right.
I think Matt Swander, one of our official Hammer Down Racing Report correspondents, sent me a link or a picture of the caution light or the caution thing on. It was a screenshot of
Right.
the broadcast that showed Ryan Blaney ahead of Hamlin when the caution indicator was on.
But
I know
I
where
just
Ron's going with
I
this.
just saw the picture. I didn't go in. I was just like,
Scott,
oh, this is a
it's just like
conspiracy.
at a short track. When the caution comes on at any short track, they revert back to the previous completed lap. Now NASCAR goes back to the previous scoring loop.
Except on the final lap. They go with video evidence and all that.
But at Daytona, they go to the flag.
So I thought it was whoever was leading the race at the white flag. Next flag ended the race.
Right.
But they were racing back to the checkered flag.
They don't race back to the checker
But the yellow
anymore.
flag came
No.
out before. Anyways,
Anyway,
Denny Hamlin.
any-
won. I
anyway-
didn't want to start a whole
Yeah,
thing.
we can't.
Anyway-
yeah, we can't change it. Yeah.
Anyway, they go back to the previous scoring loop.
But I never really heard any. I saw that picture. I just think he was trying to stir stuff up, but I didn't ever hear anything more about that.
Yeah, if,
Was there any controversy about that?
not a bit.
Okay. So Denny Hamlin was the winner. Nobody picked him except for Dean Henry, who is of course, owner of Big D's Pizza, and he can have all the pizza he wants. So we went with the next highest finisher that was picked, which was Kevin Harvick, who finished 5th, and frequent Big D's winner, John Young,
Really?
was the online winner.
Oh my
And we didn't do
gosh.
our picks in the studio last week. So
No, we didn't.
I would
and
have picked the Benedetto just because he's.
Yeah,
I like him.
and I was going to go online and punch it in.
Punch it in. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
Who would you have picked though?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll go with that. So this week,
There's so many, you know. I'm not a big Joey Logano fan, but I probably would have picked Logano.
yeah, he's not a real popular choice.
Not lately.
I did see a funny picture of him though. It was like his body with Pee Wee Herman's head.
Yeah.
on it. It looked pretty funny.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Maybe okay, you saw that too. This week's how many is based on the Cup race again. on Sunday.
This week?
This weekend's Cup race at Las Vegas.
Yep.
All 3 series in action this weekend, actually. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Trucks Friday, Xfinity Saturday, and Cup Series Sunday at 3:30 on Fox. The other 2 series are on FS1. But how many this week is how many laps will the last place finisher complete in Sunday's race at Las Vegas, the Cup race?
40 cars.
It doesn't matter how many cars.
I
It's how
know.
many laps
I know.
will
How many
that
laps
last
are- how many
place
laps are
car
running?
The total, I'm glad you asked because I actually looked that up. 267 is the total to run the full race.
And Jordan, you get to pick first.
Last place. Let's go with 56 laps.
Okay.
I don't think they'll last long.
Usually somebody falls out pretty early.
Yeah,
I think the Daytona one was like 40 laps was the last place. I could be wrong.
I'd probably say 72.
72? All right. What do you got, Kathy?
Kind of guessing on when the first crash comes, aren't we?
Well,
I think Las Vegas is probably going to be a pretty boring race, 1.5-mile track, and I don't know.
Well, it depends if they get pushy or not.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of cautions, but jump right in there, hon.
Oh, how about 80?
okay. What do you got, Ron?
76.
Oh,
And you?
I'm going with 55.
Really?
I almost went with 56.
Well, he went with 56.
That's what I was.
Oh,
Until he
He's
rattled
just
it
going to
off.
try to go underneath me, so if it's like lap 2, he wins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, wait, you'd be over then at that time.
My second choice would have been 35, but that's...
That's. I wonder how you got that number.
Yeah, well.
So if you want to play along online, put your guess in our face. Dustin Gearhart has 3. That might be close. You never
It's
know.
hard to tell.
Yeah.
Put your guess in online on our Facebook Live comments only, not on Twitter, not on YouTube, just on Facebook Live. Those are the only ones we're going to look at. And if you're closest and your guess is put in before the start of the race at 3:30, we'll go with that cutoff. So if you're listening to us on demand on the podcast on iHeartRadio or Google or iTunes, you can still get in. Just find the video broadcast on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report, and go to the comments, put in your guess, how many laps. And if somebody guessed the same number as you, whoever guessed it first gets credit.
Sounds fair.
So, and you get a Big D's Pizza if you're closest, courtesy of Big D's out there in Clyde, which we had a few weeks ago when the King Seeds came.
Yeah.
Brought that in.
That was amazing,
It
too.
was pretty good.
You know, some of our Australian listeners probably would have a problem getting to Big D's Pizza, but you'll
We'll eat it for them, though. Gladly.
So we'd have to make a night trip up to Ron's.
But if you win, you'll get an attaboy and we'll get your pizza.
Absolutely. I like that. Appreciate that. Next week on the show, we're back in the studio with Dwayne Hancock. We'll be talking about the Hoserville, Ohio auction. I don't know why I said action. The Hoserville, Ohio auction, injured driver auction that he does every year. Usually it's at the Bowling Green
Car show.
but that's not happening this year. I believe it's going to be at the Fremont Swap Meet. Is that what's going on?
I
that's what it is.
think that's what I heard, and
Yeah.
that's
Which is coming up in
two
just
weeks,
a couple
right?
weeks. Yeah. So we'll be talking to Dwayne about that, getting all the details, and also talk to him on the latest of the Attica Fremont Championship Series for both the 410s and 305s, because that's always a constantly evolving. Sponsors are constantly coming to him and throwing more money at him. If you want somebody to get sponsors for you, I think Dwayne is the guy.
Oh, yeah?
Put him on retainer.
Yeah. So that's next week on the show, 7 o'clock. Tune in. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, whatever. That's next week on the show. So
Like us. Make sure.
yeah, do that too. Follow us on Twitter at Hammer Report, I believe. Yeah, that's what it is. One other thing, next race coming up, like I said, a month from tonight, the season opener, Attica Raceway Park with 410s, late models, 305s. That's Friday, March 20th. And I'll have to get with our official Hammerdown Racing Report meteorologist, Ryan Weekman, see if he's going to be doing our weekend weather updates again.
And
We'll get that started back up.
I know that the first few races at Attica use Saturday as a built-in rain date. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's good.
yeah.
So,
We learned something interesting in Eldora this year. They're going to try to rain date every single race, I guess.
Really?
That's what I was told.
Have a rain date.
That's what I was told. I wasn't at the banquet, but that's what I was told. Is they're going to try to
NASCAR format, next clear day?
No, I hope not.
I hope not. I got to call off work.
I already
cool.
got to take a week off work in July because we're going to be running with the truck series again.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the stocks and the mods. So it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday at Eldora, Friday at Lima, and back Saturday again at Eldora.
You lobbying anybody to get a ride in the truck series?
Yeah.
Or you could have lobby one of the guys to drive your car.
There
your
we
stock.
go.
Maybe they need some extra
Hey,
seat time.
I've tried getting Tony in our stock car numerous times, and he always
No
just
luck?
says he said he'd do it, but he's just one of them. He always says he's got other commitments.
He's a control freak.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
All right. Jordan Conover, thanks for coming in. Tim Conover, thanks for coming in. Let's go home.
It's time.
See you next week.
We'll be here.